Natalie Chen smoothed down her navy blue dress as she surveyed the transformed ballroom on the 40th floor of Meridian Tower. Crystal lights dangled from the ceiling like frozen raindrops, and white orchids adorned every table. She had spent 4 months planning this winter celebration for Meridian Industries, and everything had to be perfect. Her best friend, Jessica Park, appeared beside her with 2 glasses of sparkling water. "You did it again, Nat. This place looks like a dream." Natalie accepted the glass gratefully. "I hope Mr. Hartley agrees." He wanted something elegant but modern. Something that would impress the board members from Tokyo. Jessica grinned. "Speaking of your incredibly handsome boss, there he is." Natalie's heart skipped as Devon Hartley entered the ballroom. He wore a midnight blue suit that emphasized his athletic frame. His dark brown hair was styled perfectly, and his hazel eyes scanned the room with quiet authority. At 35, he had transformed Meridian Industries from a struggling tech company into an innovation powerhouse. Their eyes met briefly across the room. Natalie felt warmth spread through her chest. He nodded once, a small acknowledgement, before turning to greet the Japanese executives. "You're staring," Jessica whispered. "I am not," Natalie protested, though she knew her friend was right. "Girl, you've had feelings for him since you started working here 2 years ago. Everyone can see it except him." Before Natalie could respond, Ryan Foster bounced over to them. The young intern had joined the marketing team 2 months ago and quickly became everyone's favorite with his infectious energy and genuine kindness. His blonde hair flopped over his forehead, and his blue eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. "Natalie, this event is incredible," Ryan said warmly. "You're like a magician or something." Natalie laughed. "That's sweet of you to say, Ryan. I was wondering," he continued, fidgeting slightly, "would you maybe want to dance? I know you've been working non-stop, and you deserve to enjoy the party too." Jessica nudged Natalie forward. She would love to. Before Natalie could protest, Ryan offered his hand with such hopeful eagerness that refusing seemed cruel. "All right, one dance." The band played a lively swing number, and Ryan proved to be an excellent dancer. He spun her confidently, and Natalie found herself genuinely laughing for the first time all evening. The stress of planning melted away as they moved across the dance floor. "You're really good at this," Natalie said, surprised. Ryan grinned. "My sister made me take lessons with her in high school. I complained the whole time, but I'm glad I did it now." He twirled her out and pulled her back, and Natalie threw her head back, laughing freely. She was so caught up in the moment that she didn't notice the intense gaze fixed on her from across the room. Devon Hartley had been discussing quarterly projections with the Tokyo board members, but his attention kept drifting to the dance floor. He watched Natalie move gracefully in Ryan's arms, her smile bright and genuine. Something uncomfortable twisted in his chest when Ryan's hand rested on her waist. The sound of her laughter carried across the ballroom, and Devon felt his jaw tighten. "Mr. Hartley, are you following?" Mr. Tanaka asked pointedly. Devon forced his focus back to the conversation. "Of course. You were discussing the expansion timeline for the Asian market." But even as he spoke, every cell in his body remained aware of Natalie's presence. He had spent 2 years maintaining strict professional boundaries with her. She was talented, creative, and handled high-pressure situations with remarkable composure. She had become essential to the company. She was also beautiful, warm, and had a smile that made his carefully controlled world feel less cold. For months, Devon had pushed these thoughts away. He prided himself on discipline and control. After his father's sudden death, Devon had taken over the company at 30 and stabilized it through sheer determination. He didn't do messy emotions. He didn't make impulsive decisions. And he certainly didn't develop feelings for employees. But watching Natalie in Ryan's arms shattered that control. The song ended, and Ryan led her off the dance floor, his hand lingering on her back a moment too long. Devon's hands clenched into fists. Without thinking, he excused himself from the executives and crossed the ballroom toward them. "Natalie," he said, his voice sharper than intended. "I need to discuss the catering schedule with you." Natalie turned, surprise flickering across her face. "Of course, Mr. Hartley. Is something wrong?" "Just some details to review," Devon replied, aware that Ryan was watching curiously. "Now, if possible." Ryan smiled, oblivious to the tension. "I should find my friends anyway. Thanks for the dance, Natalie. We should do it again sometime." As Ryan walked away, Natalie studied Devon with her perceptive dark eyes. "Is there actually an issue with the catering, or is this about something else?" Devon found himself speechless, a rare occurrence. Up close, he could see the slight flush on her cheeks from dancing. He could smell her perfume, something subtle and floral that made his thoughts scatter. "The event is excellent," he finally managed. "You've exceeded expectations." "Thank you," Natalie said slowly, still watching him carefully. "But you could have told me that without pulling me away from the dance floor." She was right. He had acted on impulse, something he never did. "I apologize for interrupting your evening," Devon said stiffly. "Please return to your guest." As he turned to leave, Natalie touched his arm lightly. The contact sent electricity through him. "Mr. Hartley, are you okay? You seem tense." For a moment, Devon forgot his rules. He forgot where they were. All he could focus on was her hand on his arm and the genuine concern in her eyes. "I'm fine," he said quietly. "Just a long day." Natalie smiled softly. "Well, you should try to enjoy the party too. You worked hard for this." She walked back toward Jessica, and Devon stood frozen, watching her go. The realization hit him hard. He wasn't just attracted to Natalie Chen. Through late-night emails about event logistics, through her easy laughter in meetings, through watching her passion for her work, he had developed feelings he could no longer ignore. And judging by how his chest had tightened watching her dance with Ryan Foster, those feelings ran dangerously deep. Across the ballroom, Natalie rejoined Jessica, her mind racing. Devon Hartley had never acted that way before. The way he had watched her dance, the tension in his voice, the look in his eyes when she touched his arm. Unless she was completely misreading everything, her impossibly professional boss had just shown something that looked remarkably like jealousy. "What was that about?" Jessica asked excitedly. Natalie shook her head, still processing. "I have no idea. But something just changed." The evening continued around them, but Natalie felt acutely aware of Devon's presence. Every time she looked up, his eyes found hers across the crowded room. The air between them felt charged with possibility and uncertainty. Neither of them knew it yet, but the dance that sparked Devon's jealousy had set something in motion that would change both their lives. The professional distance they had maintained was crumbling, and soon there would be no going back. Monday morning arrived with unusual tension at Meridian Industries. Natalie sat at her desk reviewing vendor invoices, but her mind kept wandering back to Saturday night. The way Devon had looked at her, the barely concealed emotion in his eyes, the way his jaw had clenched when Ryan touched her waist. She was so lost in thought that she didn't hear footsteps approaching until a familiar voice said, "Natalie, could you come to my office please?" She looked up to find Devon standing there, his expression unreadable. He wore a charcoal gray suit that fit him perfectly, and his hair looked slightly disheveled, as if he had been running his hands through it repeatedly. "Of course, Mr. Hartley," she replied, gathering her tablet and following him down the hallway. Jessica gave her a meaningful look as they passed, but Natalie kept her expression neutral. Her heart pounded as they walked through the executive suite. Devon's office occupied the corner of the top floor with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city skyline. The space was elegant but minimalist, all clean lines and modern furniture that reflected his personality perfectly. He closed the door behind them, and Natalie heard the quiet click that seemed to echo in the silence. The sound made her pulse quicken. "Please sit," Devon gestured to the leather chairs facing his desk. Natalie sat, crossing her legs and waiting. Devon didn't sit behind his desk as usual. Instead, he leaned against it, arms crossed, studying her with that intense hazel gaze that always made her feel exposed and understood at the same time. "The gala was a tremendous success," he began. "The Tokyo board members were extremely impressed. Several are moving forward with partnership agreements." "That's wonderful news," Natalie said, genuinely pleased. "The team worked incredibly hard." "You worked incredibly hard," Devon corrected. "Your attention to detail, your creativity, your ability to manage every aspect seamlessly. It was exceptional." "Thank you, Mr. Hartley. That means a lot coming from you." Silence stretched between them. Devon seemed to be fighting an internal battle, his jaw working as he stared at the floor. Finally, he looked up and asked, "Are you seeing Ryan Foster?" The question caught Natalie completely off guard. "What?" "No, we just danced at the party. He's a nice person, but we're not dating." Something in Devon's shoulders relaxed slightly. "I see. Why do you ask?" Natalie pressed, deciding to push past the boundaries they had always maintained. She was tired of dancing around whatever existed between them. Devon pushed off from the desk and walked to the windows, his back to her. "Because I've been trying very hard to maintain appropriate professional boundaries, and watching you dance with him made me realize I'm failing completely." Natalie's heart began to race. "Failing how?" He turned to face her, and the raw emotion in his eyes took her breath away. "Natalie, I think about you constantly. When you're not here, I find excuses to email you. When you are here, I struggle to focus on anything else. On Saturday night, seeing another man's hands on you, seeing you laugh with him, I wanted to cross the dance floor and take you away from him." Natalie stood slowly, her legs trembling. "Devon," she whispered, using his first name for the first time. "I know this is inappropriate," he continued, his voice rough. "You work for me. There are policies, power dynamics, 100 reasons why I should keep my distance. But I can't anymore. I need to know if you feel even a fraction of what I'm feeling." Natalie walked toward him, closing the distance between them. "I feel it," she admitted. "I've felt it for months. Every time you walk into a room, every time our hands accidentally touch when you hand me documents, every time you smile at something I've said. I thought I was imagining it, that it was just wishful thinking on my part." Devon reached out tentatively, his fingers barely grazing her cheek. "You're not imagining anything, Natalie. You've gotten under my skin in a way no one ever has. You're brilliant and kind, and you make me want to be better than I am." "Then stop fighting it," Natalie said, leaning into his touch. "Stop hiding behind professional excuses and just be honest about what you want." "I want you," he said simply, his thumb tracing her jawline. "I want to take you to dinner, to know everything about you, to wake up next to you and see your smile first thing in the morning. But I need to know you want this too. That you're not feeling pressured because I'm your boss." "I'm not," Natalie assured him firmly. "I want this. I want you. Not because you're the CEO, but because you're intelligent and passionate. Underneath that serious exterior, you're incredibly kind. I see how you treat people, how you care about this company and everyone in it." Devon cupped her face in both hands, his eyes searching hers. "If we do this, everything changes. People will talk. They'll say you're getting ahead because of me, that I'm taking advantage of my position." "Let them talk," Natalie said boldly. "I know the truth about my work, and so do you. I don't want to hide you," Devon continued. "I don't want stolen moments in secrecy. But I also want to protect your reputation, your career." "Then we'll be careful," Natalie suggested. "At least until we see if this is real, if it can work between us. Then we'll figure out how to handle everything else together." Devon smiled, a real smile that transformed his entire face. "You're amazing. Do you know that?" Before Natalie could respond, he leaned down and kissed her softly. The kiss was gentle at first, tentative, as if he was afraid she might disappear. But when Natalie wrapped her arms around his neck and kissed him back, something shifted. The kiss deepened, filled with months of suppressed longing and unspoken feelings. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathing heavily. Devon rested his forehead against hers. "I've wanted to do that for so long," he whispered. "Me too," Natalie admitted. They stood there for a moment, just holding each other, before reality intruded. Devon glanced at his watch and sighed. "I have a conference call in 10 minutes with the London office." Natalie smiled. "And I have a meeting with the catering company about next month's product launch event." "Have dinner with me tonight," Devon said. "Not as your boss, but as someone who wants to know everything about you." "I'd love that." They reluctantly separated, and Natalie smoothed her dress and hair before heading to the door. Before she opened it, Devon caught her hand. "Natalie, I meant what I said. This changes everything for me. I'm all in if you are." She squeezed his hand. "I'm all in too, Devon." The rest of the day passed in a blur for Natalie. She went through her meetings and answered emails, but her mind kept drifting back to Devon's office, to his kiss, to the way he had looked at her. Jessica cornered her at lunch, demanding details, but Natalie kept things vague, not ready to share everything yet. That evening, Devon picked her up from her apartment in his sleek black car. He had changed into dark jeans and a navy sweater that made his eyes look even more striking. He took her to a small Italian restaurant tucked away in a quiet neighborhood, far from where they might run into colleagues. Over pasta and wine, they talked for hours. Devon told her about growing up with the pressure of eventually taking over the family company, about his father's sudden death 3 years ago and how unprepared he had felt stepping into the CEO role at 32. Natalie shared stories about her childhood in San Francisco, her close relationship with her parents, and her dreams of eventually starting her own event planning company. "You should do it," Devon said earnestly. "You have the talent and the vision. You could build something incredible." "Maybe someday," Natalie said. "Right now, I'm happy where I am." Devon reached across the table and took her hand. "I'm glad you're where you are. Selfish as that might be." As the evening wore on, Natalie felt herself falling deeper. This wasn't just attraction or infatuation. Devon was genuine, vulnerable in ways she had never seen at work. He made her laugh with stories about disastrous business trips. He listened intently when she talked about her passion for creating memorable experiences for people. When he drove her home, he walked her to her door like a proper gentleman. "Can I see you again tomorrow?" he asked. "You'll see me at work tomorrow," Natalie teased. "You know what I mean. Can I take you out again? Properly date you?" "Yes," Natalie said softly. "I'd like that very much." Devon kissed her goodnight, sweet and lingering, before reluctantly pulling away. "Good night, Natalie." "Good night, Devon." As she watched him drive away, Natalie leaned against her door, a smile spreading across her face. Everything had changed in the span of 24 hours. The careful professional distance had crumbled, replaced by something real and promising. She didn't know what challenges lay ahead, what obstacles they would face as they navigated a relationship complicated by their professional positions. But standing there in the warm glow of new love, Natalie felt certain of one thing. Whatever came next, they would face it together. 3 weeks had passed since that first dinner, and Natalie felt like she was living in 2 different worlds. At work, she and Devon maintained careful professionalism. They addressed each other formally in meetings, kept their interactions brief and business-focused, and never let their eyes linger too long. But outside the office, they were building something beautiful and real. Devon took her to art galleries on weekday evenings, surprised her with picnics in hidden parks on Sunday afternoons, and called her every night before bed just to hear her voice. Natalie learned that he loved old jazz music, that he volunteered at a youth mentorship program every Saturday morning, and that he made terrible jokes that somehow always made her laugh anyway. She also learned that beneath his serious CEO exterior, Devon was thoughtful and romantic. He remembered that she loved sunflowers and filled her apartment with them. He noticed when she was stressed and showed up with her favorite Thai takeout. He listened when she talked about her dreams and made her believe they were possible. But keeping their relationship secret was becoming increasingly difficult. Jessica had figured it out within days, catching the look on Natalie's face when Devon walked past her desk. Ryan had commented that Natalie seemed different lately, happier somehow. The weight of hiding was starting to feel heavy. One Friday evening, as they sat in Devon's apartment overlooking the city lights, Natalie brought it up. "How long can we keep doing this?" she asked softly, curled up against him on the couch. Devon's arm tightened around her. "What do you mean?" "Hiding. Pretending at work that we're nothing more than boss and employee. I hate lying to Jessica. I hate that we can't have lunch together or that you have to drop me off 3 blocks from the office." Devon was quiet for a moment, his fingers tracing patterns on her shoulder. "I know. I hate it too. But I'm trying to protect you, Natalie. The moment people find out, everything changes. Your accomplishments will be questioned. People will assume you're getting special treatment." "Maybe," Natalie said, sitting up to face him. "Or maybe people will see that we're both adults who happen to fall for each other while working together. It happens, Devon. We're not doing anything wrong. I just don't want you to get hurt," he said, cupping her face gently. "Your career, your reputation, they matter to me." "You matter to me more," Natalie said firmly. "And I'm tired of hiding something that makes me this happy. I love you, Devon. I'm not ashamed of that." Devon's eyes widened. It was the first time either of them had said those words. "You love me?" "Yes," Natalie said without hesitation. "I love you. I think I've been falling in love with you since the first time you smiled at one of my terrible puns in a meeting 6 months ago." Devon pulled her close, kissing her deeply. When he pulled back, his eyes were bright with emotion. "I love you too, Natalie. I've been afraid to say it, afraid that saying it out loud would make everything more complicated. But I do. I love you so much it terrifies me." "Then let's stop being afraid," Natalie whispered. "Let's tell people. Let's be honest about what we have." Devon took a deep breath. "Okay. We'll do it right. I'll talk to HR on Monday, make sure we're following all the protocols. I'll speak to the board about updating our relationship policies to be more transparent. And then we'll tell everyone together." "Together," Natalie agreed, smiling. That weekend, they didn't hide. They went to brunch at a popular restaurant downtown where several Meridian employees saw them. They walked through the city holding hands, laughing freely. It felt liberating, like they could finally breathe. Monday morning, Devon met with the HR director and the board's ethics committee. He was transparent about his relationship with Natalie, provided documentation of her performance reviews to show she had excelled long before they started dating, and proposed new policies for workplace relationships that emphasize transparency and accountability. By Tuesday afternoon, the news had spread through the office. Natalie felt the stares as she walked to her desk. She heard the whispers in the break room. Some people seemed genuinely happy for them. Others were clearly skeptical or disapproving. Jessica hugged her tightly. "I'm so happy you finally went for it. You two are perfect together." But not everyone was supportive. During a team meeting, one of the senior coordinators, Margaret Wells, made a pointed comment about people who took shortcuts to success. Natalie felt her cheeks burn, but before she could respond, Devon spoke up. "If you have concerns about anyone's performance or advancement, Margaret, you can address them through proper channels. But I won't tolerate insinuations or gossip. Natalie has earned every recognition she's received through hard work and exceptional results. Anyone who reviews her performance records can see that clearly." Margaret looked away, chastened. The meeting continued, but the tension remained. That evening, Natalie sat in Devon's office, feeling discouraged. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe we should have kept it secret longer. No, Devon said firmly, moving to sit beside her. This is exactly what I was afraid would happen, but hiding wouldn't have made it better. It would have just delayed the inevitable. People are going to judge and talk regardless. What matters is that we know the truth. It just hurts, Natalie admitted. I've worked so hard to prove myself, and now people think I only got here because of you. Devon took her hands in his. Listen to me. You are brilliant at what you do. You were brilliant before we started dating, and you'll continue to be brilliant. The people whose opinions matter know that. The rest will come around, or they won't. But we can't live our lives based on other people's judgments. Over the following weeks, things gradually improved. Devon made a point of publicly recognizing the entire events team's accomplishments, not just Natalie's. He implemented the new relationship policies, which required disclosure but didn't prohibit relationships between employees at different levels, as long as there were safeguards against conflicts of interest. Natalie requested to report to a different supervisor to eliminate any appearance of favoritism. The company agreed, and she began working under the VP of marketing instead. She threw herself into her work with even more determination, wanting to prove that she deserved her position. Ryan approached her one day in the cafeteria, looking sheepish. "Hey Natalie, I wanted to apologize for being weird when the news came out. I was surprised, maybe a little disappointed, but I see how happy you are. Devon's a lucky guy." "Thank you, Ryan," Natalie said warmly. "That means a lot." Slowly but surely, people began to see them as a couple rather than a scandal. They watched how Devon and Natalie treated each other with respect and support. They saw that Natalie continued to excel at her job, landing a major contract with an international hotel chain that had nothing to do with Devon's influence. 6 months after going public with their relationship, Devon surprised Natalie with a weekend trip to Napa Valley. They stayed at a charming vineyard, spent their days wine tasting and their evenings watching sunsets over the rolling hills. On their last evening, as they sat on the terrace of their cottage, Devon got down on one knee. "Natalie Chen, you walked into my life and changed everything. You made me believe in love, in partnership, in building a life with someone that's bigger than just career ambitions. You challenge me, support me, and make me laugh even on the hardest days. I love you more than I thought it was possible to love someone. Will you marry me?" Through happy tears, Natalie said yes. Devon slipped a beautiful sapphire ring onto her finger, and they held each other as the sun set over the vineyards. When they returned to work the following Monday and shared their engagement news, the response was overwhelmingly positive. Even Margaret Wells offered congratulations, admitting that she had been wrong to judge their relationship so harshly. At the engagement party Jessica threw for them a month later, Ryan gave a toast that made everyone laugh and cry. "I'll admit, I had a bit of a crush on Natalie when I first started at Meridian. But watching her and Devon together, I realized what real love looks like. It's not just attraction or chemistry. It's two people who make each other better, who face challenges together, and who aren't afraid to be authentic even when it's difficult. Congratulations to both of you." As Natalie stood beside Devon, surrounded by friends and colleagues who had become family, she thought about how far they had come. From stolen glances across a ballroom to standing together openly, they had navigated doubt, judgment, and uncertainty. But through it all, they had chosen love. They had chosen honesty over hiding, courage over fear, and partnership over playing it safe. Devon squeezed her hand and whispered, "No regrets?" Natalie looked up at him, her heart full. "Not a single one. This is exactly where I'm meant to be." "With me?" he asked, smiling. With you, she confirmed. Always with you. As they kissed, their friends cheered, and Natalie knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them the same way they had faced everything else. Together, with love, honesty, and unwavering faith in each other. Their story had started with a moment of jealousy at a gala, with unspoken feelings and careful distance. But it had transformed into something beautiful and real. A love that refused to hide, a partnership built on respect and authenticity, and a future full of endless possibilities. Sometimes the most extraordinary love stories begin in the most ordinary places. Sometimes all it takes is the courage to admit what your heart already knows. And sometimes, when you stop fighting what you feel and start embracing it, magic happens. Devon and Natalie had found that magic. And they would spend the rest of their lives nurturing it, protecting it, and letting it grow into something even more beautiful than either of them had ever imagined possible. The end of their story as colleagues who fell in love was really just the beginning of their story as partners building a life together. And that was the most exciting chapter of all. The end.